Hello and welcome to episode 96 of my Working with Todoist series. In this episode, I want to talk to you about the sort out task. Now, quite often throughout the day, we will capture tasks like sort out next week's meeting, or sort out my living room, or sort out new office space. Now, this task, the sort out task, is actually a very dangerous task indeed, because it's too vague and it's too big, and what happens is we end up forgetting, not actually being able to process the task very well because it's too vague. It's not action orientated. Sort out, although it is a verb, it's not a very strong verb for when it comes to creating tasks and things that we should be doing. Now, the reason I'm actually covering this in this episode is because it's a chapter I actually put into the book Working with Todoist, the book, and I wanted just to be able to do a video on this just to show you what I mean by having these tasks done properly. Because if you don't use the correct verbs and you don't process these kind of tasks properly, the task basically just comes to a complete standstill, or it's not properly dealt with or built into a proper project. So what I want to do is I want to show you in Todoist how we can actually create the right kind of project for this kind of task. So today's episode is all about the sort out task. And please guys, while I'm on at the beginning of this episode, please don't forget, last week I published a book, Working with Todoist, the book. It's available on Amazon, iBookstore, and also directly from my website, which you can see up here. Please download a copy. I'm sure if you really want to get to know the very, very deepest parts of Todoist and how it can really help you to be productive, then this is definitely the book for you. Anyway, let's get into Todoist and let me show you how we develop these sort out tasks into a proper project that you can actually get some really good results from. So let's go in and have a look. Okay, so let's imagine that I've collected a task today, or captured a task today that says sort out problem with laptop. So let's just imagine that I've been having a few problems with my laptop and I need to get it sorted out. Now, when we come to this, the problem that we have is this word here, this verb here, this action verb, sort out, because this means that it's too big. The question is, what needs sorting out? This is the first question you're going to ask yourself. So what I would do in this situation is I would actually create a project. When I see the words sort out, it means I have a project. That's the first thing you need to do is think project. Sort out means project. So click on add project and we can call that repair laptop. That's going to be my project. So we created the repair laptop project. So first of all, we need to ask, what is the problem with the laptop? So in this case, let's just say that the problem I've got is that the screen is not has got lines all over it. So the first thing I'm going to figure out from this is repair laptop is find out where local service center is. That's going to be my first task, because without the service center I'm going to be struggling. The next thing I'm going to add in there is call service center. Okay, so we got call service center. Now what you might want to do here is you may want to actually create a get number of local service center, and you may want to indent that, and to indent it you just click command and then forward arrow. So that's going to create a task underneath this one, because without the number I cannot call the service center. And then I'm going to add another task, which is take laptop into service center. So basically what we've got here is we've got actually three main tasks from just this one inbox thing. Now this is where I find GTD or whatever system you're using, this is why processing is actually very, very important. This one problem that we have here, this one verb, sort out, actually contains a lot of individual tasks. So I've got enough experience now with GTD to know that the sort of verbs that I'm using when I initially capture a task means I can pretty much guess whether something is a single action task or if something's going to be a project. Now, as I mentioned in the opening of this episode, I actually have a whole chapter on this in my recently published Working with Todoist, the book. And if you do have a copy of that, you can have a look, read through that chapter, because it does tell you the kind of verbs you use to capture a task will tell you whether it's just a simple single actions task or it's going to be a full-blown project. So as you can see from this example, sort out problem with laptop is just too vague. It's not a task on its own. It's actually a project. So when you come into your processing, you would create a new project, in this case, repair laptop. And in that, from here, you would start off, find out where the local service center is. If you know where that is, then obviously that's the task you don't need. Call the local service center. If you have the number, obviously you don't need the child task or get number of local service center. And then take laptop into service center. And if you might think this is being a little bit obsessive, breaking it down like this, but trust me, if you do break down these tasks and these projects like this, there is a much, much better chance that you will actually get the project completed. If you don't, and you just leave tasks lying around in your projects, like sort out this or think about this, actually think about sometimes can work. You are going to have a lot of tasks in there that you'll find never actually gets done because they are too big. And that's wherein you have a problem. Now, of course, the way I would process a project is exactly like this, but then I would go in and look at what the labels are. So find out where local service center is. That can be done at computer because I would use, a map. I wouldn't necessarily give that a date. Call service center, that's obviously iPhone. So I would add the label to that, and take laptop into service center. That's going to be an errand, so I'm going to add in that. And that's basically how I would process a task that I'd collected, or a project that I collected called sort out problem with laptop. It actually would become a project in itself, and I would actually then create labels such as this, and then it would be bang, off I go. If the laptop was urgently required for a project that I'm working on, like a presentation, and it really does need fixing, then I would actually add a date to this. But this is the sort of thing that I wouldn't necessarily add dates to because I don't know when I'm going to have time. This one actually could be done, if you remember the recent episode I did on the at 5 minutes, this would be definitely an at 5 minute task, which I would add in. That would start off the project because I do look at my 5 minute labels quite regularly to see if I can get anything completed from it. Okay, that's it for today's episode. I hope you found this useful, and I hope it helps you to stimulate some thinking about how you develop your own projects from the tasks that you collect in your inbox. So that's it for today's episode. Have a very, very productive week, and I will see you in the next episode.